Hi, my name is Jabran, and welcome to Unlisted Talk. Well, it's been a few days we haven't done an episode, and of course, you can guess Sam would be busy. But I'm glad Sam's here. We are back again with another interesting topic. For those of you who don't know, Sam is a spiritual healer, and you can get in touch with him on his website as well, which is Healed by Life. But let's proceed with this episode. I am really excited. We've done Donald Trump before, and we have done Kamala Harris as well. Sam, this episodes that we are doing is about chakra reading on these famous personalities of the world, the global leaders we've done so far. Today is going to be a big one, yet another big one, that is Putin. And well, before we start, Sam, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you, Jabran.
Good
To
to
see you again.
Yeah, likewise, man. Okay. So for those of you who haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel and also press the bell icon so you get the notification once we upload the video. Well, on that note, Sam, you know who we're talking about today. You've done the chakra analysis for Putin, and it would only be fair that we did the chakra reading. You did the chakra reading actually for Trump and Kamala. So the next up would have been Putin, and of course he's one of the most searched people on the internet as well. So talking about Putin, man,
Well, Jabran, let me talk a little bit about what is going on here.
sure.
So I don't know Putin so well. I only know whatever is presented in the Western media, which I know is extremely biased because there's a war going on and he's, the enemy for the free world or whatever. And we both know how the media for the free world lies. And this time around, all the major platforms, news platforms, have even banned anything coming out of Russia. So I must confess my ignorance of Putin personally. I mean, I'm not very well versed. All the rumors that I've heard about him in the news seem really fake and weird. Part of the war propaganda, probably. But generally, there's mystery around the guy. And a chakra reading only gives me insight into his emotional, spiritual, and sometimes physical condition. It's not my opinion, but it's what it is. It's an insight into him in a metaphysical kind of a way.
Don't worry, we completely understand. We're not going to blame you if anything goes wrong.
All right. Okay.
Neither is Putin though. But one of the reasons why we do this is because Putin is one character you don't find a lot of information about him on the internet either. So it's really hard to figure out what's going on with him. We see the decisions he makes. That's the only thing we see. We see the outcomes. What's going behind? What's happening in his system behind the scene is what draws inquisitiveness and curiosity for me.
That's right. For me too.
Yeah. Well, okay. We asked a standard question about Kamala and Trump. I want to tweak that a little bit, but I'll keep it in the same frame because that's my starting point. And that is that because Putin's recent actions have shown or are indicative or maybe perceived in a certain way, which shows that he is for conquer, for worldly gains, materialism. On one side, we see West painting him as an evil character. How do you read his chakras? What do they say?
Jabran, so starting from the crown chakra and working our way down, Putin is a very balanced man. I mean, I'm amazed by the guy. There's very little which is off with him. He's almost a superhuman kind of a character. There are things which are mysteriously, their parts sorry, there are certain areas which are really confusing to me. Very few things are blocked in his body in terms of chakras and organs and emotions and so on and so forth. He seems to be a very resolved man.
Oh, really?
So yes, he's a superhuman kind of a guy. So the crown chakra, which is about attachment, lack of flexibility, not having a good connection with the divine, is wide open. Putin is definitely a spiritual man.
Oh.
And he seems to be in tune with divine intentions. He thinks of much more than just himself. So I think Putin, at least Putin thinks he's doing God's work.
Oh, is he?
I think so. Yes, it's a big statement, but he thinks he is doing God's work, and the divine is also favoring him.
That is true. We see that manifestation of that, at least that statement. We see that happening. Okay. At least we understand a bit about his intention, his alignment with the divine force. Let's propel.
So, let me clarify that also. When I say he's in alignment with the divine, I'm not talking about a conventional God there. I'm talking about this idea of of higher values and principles.
Right.
Something beyond our own immediate tiny little world. So he's thinking in terms of humanity and the globe, not just for Russian people or for himself.
Okay, great. I'm going to stop you right there because there's a connecting question, but I'm going to ask you that later. And I think that has been one of the concerns we've had before as well when discussing global leaders. For now, let's put it this way. He does seem to be smart. He cannot be a silly, stupid guy where the universe is just favoring him and it's all a coincidence. So between the balance of intelligence and intellect, or actually intelligence, intellect on one side and intuitiveness on the other, is he capable of reading the signs what the universe tells him? Does it opens up his perspectives that way?
Well, Gibran, he's both. He's extremely intelligent. So, his intellectual processes are, wow, really, he's probably has a really good background in terms of education, keeping himself updated with world events and the analysis. But he's also spiritual, so he does connect with the universe. He does receive guidance and spiritual intuition, and he observes it very carefully and he follows it. So, he's a all-round very intelligent man. And this is not just a gift from nature. He has gone out of his way to develop these qualities.
Oh, wow.
He seems like he has a lot of support. He has other people around him who are very, very intelligent. It's not a one-man show. But, he seems well connected with various people who are very intelligent, spiritual, different points of view in terms of religion. And so he's surrounded by very good people also.
Well, that's fair actually. But to be very honest, you can be not as smart and be surrounded by intelligent people, and then this intelligent people can be the driving force. You got to be intelligent yourself to be able to decipher, and make those bigger decisions. Okay, fine. If that's the case, then I would say, and I will play the devil's advocate, and I'll say that he does gives out. Okay, I'm quoting. I'm saying, taking the narrative of the West, and let me put it right there, which is he a power hungry liar? Is he what exactly is he manifesting? On one side, he is spiritual, intelligent, intentions.
Right.
Now, question of intent also comes in here.
Yes. So we turn to the throat chakra, right? The ether element. So first of all, very little is compromised in his body, but his tonsils are not receiving prana. So that tells me that he's living in a world where secrecy is required. He cannot say everything that he wants to.
Fair enough.
Something stops him. He has to watch what he says very carefully. But in terms of intention, Gibran, his, the ether chakra is wide open. Putin is not lying. Putin is not trying to create an ugly world. He is too educated for that.
Wow.
He is getting his inspiration from higher principles. He knows the difference between truths and lies. But he's still not able to speak the truth completely, publicly. God knows what he knows about the world we live in. But he is trying to manifest a beautiful world, at least from his own perspective. Different human beings have different perspectives, and the idea, so our goal in life is to be true to our perspective, not somebody else's. And Putin is doing a very good job of that. He's very true to what he believes.
You just trashed my advocacy.
Okay.
Okay, go on.
So he seems to be conscious of his power of manifestation as well. He's in a power position. And he is very careful about how he's operating and how he's mixing his spirituality with co-creation of the universe. He's a very interesting man. He's not an ordinary guy.
He does seem that way so far, but neither have Trump been less than extraordinary.
Well, agreed, but I think Putin has a bit of an edge over Trump.
We'll get to talk about that as well. I just want to continue this before I digress with the topic. But here is the question, and it's the bigger question. There is cruelty in various forms. War is one of them.
Yes.
He is raging a war, or is it the optics that tell us that the war against Ukraine is something else than what it meets the eye? Basically, my question is about: is his heart in the right place?
All right, so this is the only chakra I had a bit of a problem with, right?
Oh man.
Oh man. Yeah. But Gibran, it's not an evil heart. I mean, that's not what we are talking about. We are talking about a guy who's in pain, who was forced to start this war. I think we don't know the whole story of what is going on that end. So the guy, he doesn't suffer from anxiety. He doesn't hate anybody. He loves freely. He loves all of humanity, but he is in pain because he was forced to start this war. It's a war of self-defense, at least in his perspective. Also, he's in emotional pain, perhaps personal relationships, but he's too smart to let that influence any of his decisions or decision-making processes. But there is a bit of pain stuck in this guy.
I see.
Yeah.
So he is in pain, yet he is able to
Yes.
compartmentalize and
Yes.
make the decisions that are necessary according to his perspective, or at least the way he would probably think, is not ill-intended to go into a war. Situations may be different than what we see or the optics are. So it is quite a complicated situation because for an average person, the information available on the internet is merely it is not complete and it's not conclusive by itself. So we'll park this for now, but then I also wanted to know, which I think the answer would be leaning more towards in his favor. I had this idea that he does gives out a warmonger, that kind of a feeling. He does looks materialistic, and I'm reading just the optics, by the way. And that could also be a sign of if he is possessed. I mean, he can have a good heart, but he can be possessed. So he might think that that decision that he's making is pure, genuine, and truthful, but it may not be his decision.
Okay. Let's talk about him before we talk about possession. I think Putin really knows who he is. He knows spiritually what a human being should be. Whatever this war is, it's not stemming out of. It's not stemming up. It's not coming from a place of lust. He's not a stubborn man.
Okay.
He's a very strong man, but not a stubborn man. And he loves his family, his society, people in general. He's so well balanced when it comes to other people that, very interesting. He's a real social man, yet he's portrayed as an isolated, single guy, living in a palace all alone, but that doesn't seem to be the case at all. He's very well balanced socially.
Right.
I don't think he is possessed, Shibran.
Okay.
Right? So
Okay.
so I don't think he is a reptilian or being manipulated or being controlled. I don't think he's being controlled even by the KGB or.
Oh, really?
Yes, I think he's a leader. I think he himself is a leader. He is so conscious of who he is and so aware of who this guy is that I don't think he's being manipulated. I think he's a free entity and operating to the best of his ability.
Well, that's very interesting because I don't want to name countries where military has had a more stronger position and a place of power where they can even control governments to an extent. And without naming any countries, I can tell you that could be an option. A country like Russia, where KGB is extremely powerful and strong, but yet there is a democratic angle to it where Putin seems to be more in control. So he's no pushover.
Yeah, he's not playing in anybody's hands, and he used to, I think, lead the KGB at some point, and
That's
he learned
true.
to play the game very, very carefully and very well. And they have no dirt on him, and nobody seems to be manipulating this guy.
Yeah,
He's
that's true. He did rise up to the ranks over a long period, but he was quite successful at that while in
yes,
KGB as well.
yes, that's right.
Okay, you did mention about relationships. So at this point, I wanted to ask his relationships about his family. What do they look like? His relationships with extended family, close friends, people, because everything seems to be very secretive about him. We don't know much. I mean, there is a bit of information, but I am not so certain if that would be valid or correct. What do you think? How do you look at this?
Yeah, even I was a bit curious about, just in general, who is Putin, who are his children, why doesn't Russia have a first lady? And you can't find simple answers to any of these questions. He seems to have an ex-wife, and supposedly has a couple of daughters. But he so he is family oriented according to the chakra reading.
Okay.
He has a great relationship with whoever his wife or his lover is. There's hardly anything wrong with the guy, except for the pain part that I told you about and the secrecy part. Okay, so one of the places where his energy seems blocked
Okay.
is his right testicle.
What?
So, well, we have our own interpretation of what that means. So perhaps.
Okay, hold on.
he
This is
has-
not to be taken literally. There is a meaning and there's an interpretation to these things. Listen to his interpretation there.
Yes, every organ represents a certain part of the human experience, right?
Okay.
So in this particular case, it may be a yearning for a son, or it may be, perhaps he had a slightly problematic relationship with his father. But it's something to do with things of this nature. But he seems to be sexually very healthy. He seems to be a man full of joy, very content, very satisfied, and generally a happy person. But so there is this issue, patriarchy,
Okay.
related to patriarchy. Yeah. But
Okay.
unless I interviewed him or actually met him and did more readings, I wouldn't know exactly what the story is. But yes, it's there.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Putin has been successful to keep himself secretive by choice or by design, whatever that is, and even Sam is now curious to know more. So,
Of course. Gibran, he's a like I said, he's a super human being. In fact, I'd like to say something, Gibran, that, we who live in, I've spent a lot of time in America, but so we who are outside Putin's system, who live in the West or developing nations, we don't seem to have access to the kind of medical attention Putin is receiving. I mean, they are operating at a different level in Russia. Obviously, Putin is not so healthy and so well balanced all by himself. They're probably eating better food. They have alternative medical practices, things that you and I really don't know anything about, or at least around Putin, if not for all of Russia. There is some mysterious positive process going on around the guy. People are keeping him healthy, the food he's eating, so why don't we have access to that? When I look at, even when I do a chakra reading of even a very well-off Westerner, they're half sick. Putin is not.
it's very interesting, Sam. I was checking up. He is 72 years old. He was born on the 7th of October in 1952. 72 years, and he doesn't look half his age.
Oh no. Prime health. Prime health.
And I've seen him swim in ice cold waters. I've seen him riding. I've seen him play, play martial arts. I mean, this guy, he does things which I don't think a 72-year-old would be doing, if not for good health.
Yeah.
The second thing I remember, I read it a while ago, he was promoting organic farming in Russia. So it does seem to speak a little about, or quite a bit about, his choice of what kind of foods to get into. And
Apparently he has banned GMO seeds.
yes.
But once again, one can't be sure. Are these rumors coming out of Russia, or is this real news? I speak English, so I only rely on the Western media. So there seem to be very intelligent decisions being made over there, and people seem to be slightly better in terms of their health, or they have access to technology, which I don't understand.
Right.
But I know that the rest of the free world does not have access to anything of the sort.
That is true.
And also the free world really doesn't care about their citizens. They're just clients for, whatever they are producing industrially. And there seems to be a difference here.
Sounds great, man. Sam, I want you to consolidate everything that you have said so far. And
Gibran, we've forgotten one chakra, the earth chakra.
No. I'm going to get there. My question is, I want you to club everything that you have said, and in light of that, evaluate and see if Putin is a happy guy. Because I do have questions when you said his heart chakra about that. So happiness is one thing, because that can lead to contentment and fulfillment and lack of greed, and leads to quite a lot of things actually. So happiness being the key point where all this revolves around. How do you look at that?
I think all around he is a happy guy. He's a strong guy. He does carry some pain in his heart. But Gibran, being the head of a state like Russia and also heading KGB, imagine the kinds of evil he has come across in his life. So, considering that, things have affected him. He has felt pain for others and for himself, and perhaps he has had not so good relationships in the past. When I look at the testicle situation, perhaps his father, perhaps the woman he divorced. There is some emotional pain of a personal nature, as well as pain for humanity. And pain for humanity, yes, pain for humanity. And pain for humanity sounds like it's a good thing, but in a person who is less strong than Putin, it would influence their decisions negatively. It would give them a bias. But this guy is able to not let biases develop, right? He's still very balanced, but he still feels that pain. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's...
It sounds like I'm promoting Putin. Anyway, I'm not. I don't know the guy at all, but the reading was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
We've had this zigzag effect, if I'm allowed to call it. We did Trump, turns out to be exceptional. We did Kamala, and then we saw a different side, a different spectrum. And then Putin, and it's like... completely an amazing character again.
A new benchmark. Putin is the new benchmark.
Is the new benchmark. Great. Let me ask the last two questions so we can sum it up. One is about, and I'm going to keep it strictly about Putin. So we talked about happiness and being close to divine or not, intuitive intelligence, all those things. The war against Ukraine, or say Russia-Ukraine war, has set off quite alarming signals on the global stage. Things, and it has probably, it's kind of extended from what most people on the global stage expected it to be. Is that going to set some sort of a fear in Putin? Is he losing control over certain things? Do you think he maybe very balanced in his decision making, but it does creates a lot of emotional turmoil from a fear point of view?
He's not afraid at all, Gibran. Not at all. His feet are firmly planted on the ground. He has no fear. So that makes me think. Now, this is my own conclusion, right? It's not, the reading is not telling me this, that he can't be alone in this process. To be so fearless in the middle of a war, in conventional examples, can only happen when you think you have a fantastic military, you have all the support you need, all the financial support, Your food supplies are good. So, Putin is not a one-man show. He's only be achieved in a society which is nurturing and caring and supportive. You can't pluck a guy out of a terrible culture, a dysfunctional culture, and have this reading. So he has a
Right.
lot of support. I think 80% of Russians really love Putin. Which world
Wow.
leader has that kind of numbers, right?
That's a big
So
deal.
yes, so he's surrounded by love and he's surrounded by support, and he's not afraid at all, Gibran.
One of my angles
Not
of
afraid.
actually asking that question was recently. I don't know if you know that a few days ago, Donald Trump made a promising remark, and he said that he wanted to bring the Ukraine-Russia war to an end. And I mean, I for one have a positive element of wars ending, but the way they are ended is also very important. So, is it going to get into a more, say, harshness before this conflict ends, before the wars end, before we come to peace? Would that set off some nerve-wracking signals to Putin? Would that cause fear? That was one of the angles of asking the question.
Well, I don't know, Gibran. I am not a war analyst at all. The chakra reading is telling me that he's not afraid. He's got his feet firmly planted. He's not afraid of whatever is coming his way. I did this reading on the 11th of November, just
I see.
very recently, and today is the 14th, I think. So yeah, it's a very recent reading, and he's not afraid.
Awesome, man. It looks like things are going to come to a good turning point with Trump in
Yes,
office.
and one of the possible theories that can come out of this reading is perhaps Trump and Putin are even friends, because
Yeah.
Putin is not afraid.
Well, neither is Trump.
Right? Neither is Trump. That's
So,
correct.
to intelligent people,
Yes.
God-fearing people,
Yes,
or
both are
divinely
God-fearing.
connected, divine
That's
connection.
right. That's right.
Okay,
Trump less so than Putin, of course.
fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
We probably believe that most of them do not even have that connection
Yes.
on even a average level. So
Well, the average politician that I look at, or person of importance, are possessed. They are,
man.
a lot of them are.
we need to do a list of possessed people then.
Well, they're boring people, Gibran.
I know.
Their behavior is identical. They're greedy. They're violent. They're ugly people. And a lot of them are not operating out of love for humanity.
Okay.
They're
Well,
selfish.
that's probably for another time. But for now, last question. I'm not. I know this has been overstretch. Could it be possible? I know a lot of people without, whether they know it or they don't know it, they've had childhood traumas, and a lot of things manifest when they grow up in ways we cannot even imagine, and we won't even know for most of us. Is there a trauma for Putin in his childhood?
Okay, Putin has not stored any trauma in his body at all, and I don't understand that also. Being a member of the KGB and being exposed to so much. No, but then to get rid of that trauma, you can't just decide to get rid of it. You have
Okay.
therapy, treatment, analysis, release. So I think Putin is very aware of these healing methods and has always kept himself in good shape, mentally, physically, and spiritually. And is too smart to say, oh, well, there is no soul and there is, there is no divine and we are just a machine and a body. He does not buy into that narrative. And in fact, He knows what to do at the energetic level, at the emotional level, and has a lot of support, like I said before.
Amazing. Sam,
Yes.
it's really amazing to do these character sketches. Actually, they're not character, they're characters, insights, call it whatever you will,
Analysis.
analysis. If you want to sum something up, if you want to conclude this this analysis, if there's something left that you have analyzed.
Not really, except I'm amazed by how resolved this man is.
Not that my
What a character.
questions were clever.
Your questions were very, very good. But answering them has led me to this conclusion that wow, Putin is something.
Wow.
Putin is something.
Ladies and gentlemen, President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, according to Sam, is an amazing character, superhuman being, close to, at least. Well, it was amazing listening and talking to you, Sam. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being with us. And thank you for taking out your time and effort to do this for us, because this, it does gives us a lot more to think about and opens up what sort of a character Vladimir Putin can possibly be. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us. Subscribe to our channel, press the bell icon so you don't miss out the videos that we post next time, and you get the notifications right away. For those of you who want to get in touch with Sam for their private sessions for healing, can get in touch with Sam over his website called healedbylife.com. You can also visit his YouTube channel, which has plenty of videos, technical spiritual stuff. That is also called Healed by Life on YouTube. Till our next video, you take care of yourself. Thank you, Sam. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Gibran.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.